Hi everybody, welcome back to the Premier Guns YouTube channel. I've got something a bit special for you on this time, and people will know if they watch the channel on a regular basis. I am a huge fan of Japanese shotguns, and in particular I'm a huge fan of Mirokus. Now Miroku, Japanese produced shotguns for a number of years, very popular in the UK as a result of me imparting my knowledge and my expertise on these particular guns. We have sent them all over the world, particularly to Canada and America via our YouTube contact. So what we've got today is we've got one of the highest grade mass-produced, one of the highest grade Mirokus from the 1970s. So we've done videos on modern guns, MK38, we've done the High Pheasant 2. I think that's a problem. Oh, we've done in Mirokus, but we've done different guises and different specifications, grades, etc. So back in the 1970s, the Mirokus were imported in the UK by a company called Parker Hale, who were very famous for importing Smith & Wesson pistols, certainly at the time. And they also did many different cleaning products, and it's a name most people that have been shooting for 20 years plus will know the name Parker Hale because they're synonymous with shooting here in the UK. So Miroku was at that time imported by Parker Hale. At the time, I think I've touched on this in previous videos, in the 70s, if you wanted a top quality shotgun, you would buy a Browning B25. They were handmade, they were perfectly balanced, there was all sorts of options in terms of grades and specification, and they were very highly regarded worldwide, but certainly here in the UK, to be in the best shotguns you could buy. However, they didn't have anything really for the masses. This was pre-Browning 325, 425, even 125 days. And what they wanted to do is they wanted to get involved with the mass market, which Miroku was making real headway in as they came in through the UK supplier. And so they did produce some guns that tried to go head-to-head with the Mirokus. It didn't work, and of course, from then on, they then went to Miroku, and up until this day, Miroku manufacture under license for Browning. So this is a 800 HSW. So back in the 1970s, there was sort of 600, 700 and 800 guns. The 800 was available in trap, skeet, and I think they did a game gun, which was sort of half and full choke. Sporting, as we've said in previous videos about Winchesters and things, wasn't really coming into play in the 70s. I think this gun is a 77, 78 model gun. Not entirely easy to date them as you can do, because from 1980 they started using the letter prefixes, which makes the gun very easy to date in terms of manufacture. Prior to that, it can be a little bit sketchy. Sporting wasn't really a thing, so at the time, in terms of clay shooting, it was primarily trap and skeet shooting. So the 800 range catered for the trap and the skeet shooters. So trap, we're talking sort of down the line, and ABT, automatic ball trap, as well as a bit of double trap, which was double rise, which was popular in the 1970s and 1980s. And skeet, largely, it would have been what we now know today as English skeet. So the skeet guns would have had sort of 26, 28-inch barrels, and the trap would have been, believe it or not, they did 28-inch trap barrels, a 30-inch, and you might find a 32, but they tend to be on the later guns. The 800, which we'll probably do a video on a basic one in the future, was their sort of higher end of the clay guns, if you like. Then they did largely three different models. So they did the 800W, which was a black action with a wide rib. And when I talk about wide rib, I'm talking 15mm, which is this gun's got, which I'll show you shortly. They did the 800S, which was the 800 model with a silver action. Then they did the 800SW, which was silver action with a wide rib, which is kind of comparable today to something like a grade 4. And then they did the 800 HSW, and that stood for, the HSW stood for high grade, silver action, wide rib, and that is what we've got here today. As you can see, just from looking at it, it does look like a traditional Miroku looking. In fact, if you look at the engraving, it's very similar to a modern MK38 or MK70 grade 5. that hasn't really changed. Mechanically, they are different to the modern one. So 800 has got disc set strikers, which we no longer have in the Miroku range. I'll just show you those. And that was something which basically means you can remove the firing pins and replace them without taking the stock off, because you get a little tool which takes these discs out and then you can get at the firing pins. It's not something you tend to see today. Mainly, if anything, you might see it in Spanish side-by-side manufacturer, the likes of AOA. I think they probably maybe still do it. So disc set strikers, but also whereas traditional Mirokus use the coil spring system, these were V-springs. V-springs are very, very good because they do give you a better trigger pull, but at the same time, they are more fragile and susceptible to breakage. If we started looking at the action, these are hand engraved. Okay, in the day, these were an awful lot of money, probably more than a Browning A1 in this particular period, or certainly more money than sort of the higher grade Winchesters. They were a chunk of money. So hand engraved, really nice sort of bouquet scroll work. All over the top it's engraved, the top lever's engraved, which is nicely blued, as is the trigger guard and the bottom plate, so the furniture, all nicely engraved. So hand engraved, BC Miroku on the bottom of the action. Full length trigger guard, which we call a full tang. Again, a nice touch from a practical point of view. Not ideal because you've got to take those screws out and take the stop bolt out. But from an aesthetic point of view, I think it looks really, really, really nice. Now, as well as the high grade, the hand engraved action barrel wings, etc., what you also got with the HSW is you got a few little extras. You got the dropper point, which you wouldn't get with a lower grade gun. You got this rosewood pistol grip cap with an ivory insert. It is actually ivory, so yeah, this gun is completely untouched and original. You got your silver oval, so you can put your initials in, etc. And on top of that, depending on the exact specification, you got either a mother of pearl or an ivory foresight bead. Those who are fans of Browning and Miroku will know that the older models had chopper lump barrels. When I say that, I mean in terms of one-piece construction. And if you've owned one of these guns or shot one of these guns with chopper lump barrels, rather than so it's monoblock rather than demi-block, when you close it, you will hear that little ring, and this is no exception. So chopper lump barrels. Many manufacturers now don't use chopper lump barrels because my understanding is it's just too expensive to do. Whereas presumably back in the 70s, 80s, right up to I think 1994 when they stopped making the Browning 325, chopper lump barrels were presumably more affordable. The process was more attainable. I don't honestly know, but this gun has got chopper lump barrels. Then we move to the fore end. You got this nice little round thing which is engraved. I don't know what that is. It's just a little some medallion, which was a nice finishing touch, and also you got a bit more ivory in the top of the fore end as well. So the attention to detail was there. We've got the wooden cleats on the barrel, which we've seen before, and on top of that we got highly polished metalwork. So the ejectors were all hand polished, which added to the fact that there was a lot more handwork in the gun that you'd get on a mass-produced or a lower grade 800, 700, 600 of the period. So this particular gun is a 30-inch trap. It is choked full and full. So super tight and super tight. Because like I said, at the period this gun was manufactured, in the UK, it was all to do with, trap shooting was double rise, down the line, etc. And people like to use tight chokes. Wide rib, which is what the W stands for in HSWs. This is actually a 15mm rib with a centre bead, and we've talked about the foresight bead, which again was very, very popular in the day. Browning did I think a 16mm, which was called a Broadway. You'd got Nico that did a 20mm bead, 20mm rib. So wide ribs at the time were very, very popular. Nice fine English checkering on the stock. Original Miroku pack mile white line butt pad. Like I said, despite the age of this gun, it is pretty much unaltered. It will have been serviced over the years, but it remains in extremely good condition. Chamber wise, obviously 2 3/4 because of the age of the gun. and of course it's not steel shot proof because it's too old and it's got too tighted chokes. This is a gun that I've certainly not seen many of. I would imagine a lot of people haven't seen, but a lot of people that were shooting in the late 70s, early 80s, it's something that they probably always aspired to. You know, one day I'm going to buy I'm going to buy myself a high grade gun. And what you've got here is quite a rare opportunity to own something that is quite special. What's particularly special, which I can't get my head around, is the fact that the action, it doesn't look like an 800 action. It looks like a later 3800 action. So because of the age of this, it's a crossover gun for the late 70s, like 78, 79. Now from memory, I always thought they stopped making 800 in 77. So somewhere along the line, there will be a bit of history and a bit of provenance to this gun. It is an 800, it's stamped 800 on the barrels, which again, you don't get on all Miroku models. Even some of the newer models don't have the model designation actually stamped on the gun. Beaver Tail Foreign, as you would expect. Monte Carlo stock, again, in this particular period, late 70s, early 80s, a lot of trap guns came in Monte Carlo stocks, certainly Mirokus, because of the idea of the head-up shooting position, the faster target acquisition. And if you open and close this thing, the fact that it is 50 years old nearly, it's just incredible. You know, it just feels like the day it was made. You've got the little bits of added detail on the back strap for the engraving, these little knobbly bits, you know, engraved selector. It's a really, really nice thing and a real joy to own. If anybody's got one of these, I would strongly recommend you keep it because it is, like I said, it is a genuinely rare piece of kit. That's the Miroku 800 HSW in 30-inch trap specification. Any questions, please comment below. Please keep liking or subscribing the channel and the videos, because without your input, it's very difficult for me to bring you these reviews. And don't forget, obviously coming soon, we've got the membership tier, if you like. We'll be discussing that and announcing that very shortly. That's it. If you need to contact us, you know where we are. Get in touch via email, comment below. And like I said, I keep trying to bring you guns that a lot of people won't have seen. I believe this is one, and this is, to any Miroku aficionado, they will tell you this is one of the kind of holy grail of Miroku shotguns. That's it. That's all from me. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Cheers.